Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Heel Podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott and Mike, and we have, um, content-wise, I'll say, only two things to talk about. That's how I'll phrase it.
That's the better way of phrasing it because normally you're
Agreed.
going to say it's going to be a short video, and then it turns out to not be, and then we get into this whole conundrum.
Basically, Mike has talked to me backstage and basically explained that I'm an idiot and need to be doing it correctly. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Peacemaker, the season 2 premiere. We have a lot to talk about and unpack there. Then we're going to move on to a character spotlight from me. And shockingly enough, it has nothing to do with Peacemaker. So,
How unfortunate.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So let's get right into it and let's talk about Peacemaker. The first 5 minutes explains majority of what's canon and what's not.
They just completely retconned the DCEU. Like
And I love that they did too. You know
it
what's sad
was.
though? I couldn't figure out right immediately. I had to pause it for a second because I was like, "Who's the fifth one?" Well, because I'm like, it's Superman, it's Mister Terrific, it's Hawk Girl, it's Green Lantern, and I'm like, "Who the hell is the other one playing?" And it took me a minute because I forgot because it was obviously Supergirl, but I didn't put two and two together.
I'm like, I just thought it was interesting that Supergirl was there,
I think
but
that's why I mentally didn't think it was her. Like because I was like because obviously it makes sense. It was obviously her. There's no question of the silhouette. But like at first you're going,
yep,
what?
yeah.
At least for me. However, the banter between it was obviously in the original. It was Flash and Aquaman, but the one with Hawkgirl and um,
Guy Gardner.
yes, that was hilarious. And that Guy Gardner's a barfer.
Um, what
It was a specific phrasing, but it had something to do with barfing.
I texted you. The exact phrase
But I
is
know it was about Green Lantern was like throwing up or something. But there was a specific like because it was supposed to be instead of
puke freak.
Aquaman puke freak because it was supposed to be instead of Aquaman is a fish lover.
Yeah, yeah, and you're obviously making it less colorful than it is.
No, 100% because I'm trying. I am trying my best.
You're
Um,
trying your best.
and it's succeeding. It gets the point across. But
Hmm.
you're absolutely right. He was less. He was more colorful than me. Um, so yeah, I definitely have to say, I love that piece because that was the only thing you and I were both kind of concerned about. And and what did I say to you? I said, well, maybe they'll just change that scene. And you're like, ah, that's going to be hard to do. And then they legitimately, granted, I will say this. I said they would cut it. I will admit that.
Well,
I did not say they were going to change it.
yeah, yeah. You didn't say they were going to change it. You were just like, we didn't. I don't. You didn't really give oh, how we're going to handle this. I don't remember
Well, I
what you
thought
said
you did,
exactly.
and then I was like, let's probably just not show it. Like it'll probably
Yeah.
just be the only thing because it was such a short piece that it didn't matter. And you're like, well, they talk, so they kind of have to. And
Well,
I
no,
was like,
your thing was because
oh
you
yeah,
only
I
saw
did
the
say maybe
silhouette.
they won't change it. Maybe they won't change it. That is
That
what I
that
said
that's
originally.
that's
But then I was
that's
like,
what
well,
it
maybe
was.
they'll just cut it. Because then I went with just cutting it at that point. And Mike was like, I don't think they could do that. And
Well,
technically,
because
they
in
did
my
cut
in
it.
my defense, it was like, how are they going to change it? Because it was very blatant who it was.
Well, they
In
didn't
my
change it.
defense, yeah, and they
No,
just were
you were.
like, nah.
Here's the thing. To be fair, you were absolutely correct. But in this one, they were like, "We're gonna make you. We're gonna do the Mandela effect, and then we're gonna gaslight you and say that's what season one was like the entire time."
Yep. I'll be honest, like I didn't see it coming,
But
and
it was
I
so well done.
was, yeah, yep. I'm
The art,
I'm glad I was wrong in that situation. You
it
know, they
worked
they han-
perfectly.
they handled it very well.
It was so funny too because it's like, oh, we're gonna show you what happened last season, and
And
then
I
they
love
show
that
the
everything,
changes.
and they literally everything involving like when what's her
When he
name,
was,
Amanda Waller's daughter was talking to Amanda Waller on the phone. She's like, "Oh, can't you call the Justice League?" And it's like, "No, they
they
changed
just
it
said
to
Justice
Justice
Gang,
Gang."
and I
I
watched that
was
scene. And I was like, wow, they changed those scenes just they did those scenes over just for the reboot, and I
Yeah.
think that's hilarious because it was so well done.
Well, now I wasn't paying as close attention in because I was just expecting it as like a recap. So like, did they actually re-record it, or was it just like a voiceover?
Well,
I had just
either
assumed it
I'll
was a
say it this way:
voiceover.
either way, it was still the actors redoing it. So
That's fair.
I am not as. I will say this: if anything, 100%, I would say the one with the Guy Gardner one was a reshoot. There
That
was
was a
no way.
reshoot,
There was
obviously.
no
Yeah,
way that one couldn't be. However, the rest of them, I think, were just like
voiceovers. Yeah.
voiceovers slash changing of the silhouettes.
hmm Which the only thing that was drastic was the Justice League versus Justice Gang situation. And to be clear, the Justice Gang only has terrific Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner in it. Superman and Supergirl are not part of the Justice Gang.
No, but if you remember, in Superman, they've worked together a few
They say they
times.
help out once in a while.
So,
But
but I will.
the
No,
only
I
reason
get your point. I get your
the
point.
only reason I want to say that is because people like online were like, I thought they weren't part of the team. And it's like, well, they said they work together sometimes.
They made it very clear, and they were very smart about it to say that we've worked together in the past before, and
Yep.
that's all they needed to say. And then we got a very clear thing of it. Also, I don't think I registered that.
Abadayo, that's her name. Abadayo, Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah, I also didn't realize too that in Creature Commandos, both Hawkgirl and Supergirl were shown dead
Yep.
next to each other.
Yep. I didn't remember, but when I saw those pictures on circulating online, I remembered.
Yeah.
Um,
So the other thing that we got clarification on is where Amanda Waller is.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she's in charge of
No, she's under investigation.
well, she's under investigation, but she's also in charge of now Task Force M.
Well, no, not yet.
What do you mean not yet?
When you say Task Force M, are you talking about Creature Commandos?
Yes.
Technically, she has no power right now.
Like, well,
So you're
yes.
correct. Yes, yeah,
yes.
but the idea is he's Rick. The way this episode made it seem was Rick Flag, although is the director or whatever you want to call him for now. The idea is the reason why he is there is because she is under investigation. So she has no power whatsoever until they finish their investigation.
she cannot be in the public eye, but she still has like the power that because she like I said, she's in charge of Task Force M.
Yes, but technically she doesn't on because Task Force M does exist. It does
Yes.
exist. They know it exists. But the idea is the government has taken it away from her. Technically,
let's put it like this. Let's put it like this. In the public eye, she's under investigation. Behind the scenes,
we don't know what's going on.
probably not because we know how Amanda Waller is and, you know.
This particular instance reminds me of the Thunderbolts with Valentina.
Yeah.
Very much so. But anyway,
Like
so
let
yeah,
me
these,
let me like let me if it's one of those things where it's like yes she's under investigation but like we both know that Amanda Waller is one of those people that yeah you're getting in trouble but not really. They're just more mad that she got outed than actually.
it's gonna be more of who is gonna give you the fall person, who's gonna actually. So they have to
Yeah.
wait until they figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. We also know Amanda Waller is going to be in other projects.
Yeah,
So
they
there's
have a
no
TV
way.
show for her already
Correct. So
and
like right now, we already know like although she might have some restrictions,
yeah.
maybe she's definitely not going to be out. But I do like that we at least got an answer why we haven't seen her
Yep.
since Creature Commandos,
Correct.
which I'm not mad about whatsoever. I also love that we got like kind of what's been going on, like
Yeah,
with all the characters.
that little update kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it was weird because it wasn't an update, but it was at the same time. It was very awkward in the sense of like it gave us a lot of information, but it was also like
It was vague. Yeah.
It was yeah. Um,
I mean, they gave the Abadayo and her. I don't remember if
wife.
girlfriend or
His
wife. It was wife.
No, because she took her
They're
wife's name. Remember, that's why she's not a Waller.
right.
That was a big.
No,
That was
you
a
are
no, no,
correct.
yeah, I know.
Yep.
That's one thing I do remember.
Yeah. No. Yep. The
They're
Abadayo and
separated.
her wife are separated. Um, Uh,
Hawthorne can't get a job
Hawthorne is, yep,
in the
any kind of
intelligence.
government position.
Well,
Yep.
specifically, well, yes, but intelligence specifically. Um,
Um,
we have Peacemaker, who was supposed to have an interview with the Justice Gang, which before we go into that, we're gonna skip. We're gonna keep talking about everyone else before we go back to that scene. We then had oh my gosh, we had John Constantine. No, no, what's his name? Constable. Constable.
um,
It is
oh my
John,
God, it is John,
but
and
it's close.
it's
It's
very
close.
close.
So I wasn't like I knew I was wrong, but I knew I was close too. Constable.
No, no. Economos.
Okonomos. I I knew I was close, but anyway,
Yeah,
um,
Economos
he
is still working for technically Argus, but he
well
has,
Bellerive specifically,
yeah,
technically, which is a whole.
he is still working under Rick Flag. Um,
Well, he's now working for Rick Flag because technically it was Amanda Waller first.
well, yeah,
Because Creature
but
Commandos. I'm not trying to
yes,
nitpick, but I want to be clear. And he is specifically assigned to watching Peacemaker.
and he has to continue that because otherwise, because he played it off that he had nothing to do with it and doesn't like Peacemaker, even though he does, and um,
And Vigilante
very,
is still a busboy at the restaurant.
yeah, and he's still. I think it's hilarious that now he's trying to be friends with Economos, and Economos just wants nothing to do with him, but
Well, I don't think
is
it's that.
still
I think
like,
it's I think he does like him,
no,
but
he does,
I
but
think the
it's
problem is it's like, man, we had this discussion yesterday and the day before and the day before that. We're done. And
yep,
he's like, ask me any question about owls. He's like, you know nothing about owls. And he's like, ask me anything. He's like, are they cones or are they balls? And he's like, clearly they're balls. Or no, orbs or cones or orbs and whatever. And he says the orbs, and he's like, they're not orbs, they're cones. And he goes, or cylinders or whatever. And he's like, then
yeah,
their eyes would fall out. So that doesn't make any sense. And he's like, I'm just telling you, I'm reading owl facts, and it was just perfect. And he's like, and so he's like, you don't know anything about owls. He's like, well, I kind of do.
it's like you just asked the one question I don't know. Ask me something else. It's,
So ridiculous, but so perfect too. Um, we also, so Peacemaker and Hawthorne apparently hooked up.
yep, and Hawthorne is not happy with it.
Yeah, well, she also doesn't like anybody. I mean, she also has, um,
Harcourt, not Hawthorne. Harcourt.
oh, and either way, she also has toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Which, as weird as it sounds, it was funny in the trailer, but clearly it was funnier in the show because it was literally a therapist, the guy, the therapist for work to prove whether or not she would be qualified for an intelligence job. And she's like, "That's the most bullshit answer I've ever heard in my life." And it's just like he's like, "You're making my point, basically."
Yep, you're just check mark, check mark.
So she then beats the crap out of her car, which was also hilarious. Um, and then her and Chris have a moment, and that's when we find out they hooked up. And then he leaves, gets depressed, and has an orgy in his house, um, which
Yeah,
was not what I was expecting. Um,
we knew it was coming because of the trailer. Shut at you. um, but
that's all I needed to know. I
I,
needed nothing else.
but I didn't expect it to happen in the way that it did. So,
I will agree with you. It
and
was
I just wasn't expecting all of a sudden he did a line of coke, and then all of a sudden there was just nudity
everywhere.
right there. Like,
And
okay,
like I have to say, they showed a lot more than I was expecting.
they they went heavily into the rated R for
To
that.
be fair, they made it very clear that this was not a kids show. And to be fair, I knew it wasn't going to be a kids show, but like that scene was like when I say boys esque, it clearly wasn't bloody, but I meant like it was clearly like boys esque, like
No,
sex wise.
no care, no care.
I mean, the amount of sex that was happening, and like they you couldn't hide the sex.
No, no.
So before we go into so he this no so before this we want to talk about the Justice Gang before we start going into the parallel dimension.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So the Justice Gang. So when he gets there for his interview, White Rabbit runs out,
I'm
which is
I'm very I'm glad that you figured out who that was.
I
They,
hope. I'm not gonna lie to you.
they
I was very hoping that was it because if it wasn't, I had no answer to who that was.
no, I but hey, sometimes you don't don't know. Sometimes we don't know characters, not just you, like me as well.
You did a character spotlight on him.
I didn't know if you remembered that.
No, that's the only reason why I remembered.
Well,
Um, I just wasn't expecting her to be just. Well, we don't know if it's just that. I'll say that. But my point was, I was surprised to see her there.
I
Um,
wasn't. Yeah, I mean,
because
it's a good,
technically, as weird as it sounds, she was a hero.
she was
But
trying to
that's
be. She's
well,
trying to
you
be a
understand
hero,
what I,
but
you
yeah,
understand
yeah,
what I mean. Like I'm not saying she is 100%. I'm just saying like the potential is there.
yeah.
Because she was at least a candidate to be interviewed by the Justice Gang. Um,
Could yeah, that's funny. Just all these villains showing up, just like yeah. Instead of arresting you, let's try to make you a hero. And nah.
so then Peacemaker shows up, and the button scenario was exactly what we were expecting from the trailer. Um, it was, I mean, it was still funny, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of just like, it was more funny when he found out than it was happening. I guess is the best way to phrase
I
it.
mean, the whole situation was like it was uncomfortable because you could see that he was actually
Hurt by.
hurt by everything. So it was like him actually trying. He wants to be good, and they are just completely ragging on him. And then obviously it makes it a little. They tried to turn the humor back by talking about White Rabbit and her. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on
Yeah,
camera.
camel toe.
Oh, I am. Okay,
Well, because you can't describe what it is, but you can say it
that's fine.
because
I did.
it's not a swear.
I didn't think it was, but
No, no, it's definitely inappropriate, but you're saying what somebody else stated, so it's not like you can't say obviously the F word, all that stuff, blah blah blah. But you get my point.
yeah.
Um, no, no, I get your concern because of what it is, but
Hmm.
because we see her running out crying, and then Peacemaker just up and left.
Yeah.
Still funny as all heck. The one thing I will say though, James Gunn talked in an interview that when John Cena was first casted as Peacemaker, obviously he wanted him to be Peacemaker because he thought it'd be funny as it.
Hmm.
But the one thing he said in season two, he said during filming of season two, he goes, "No offense to him whatsoever, but I didn't think he could act." And what he said was, in this season, he proved me wrong.
Hmm. I
Um,
mean, he's. I mean, in his defense, which again, I'm going off of what that is that he just got off of his wrestling career. Like he's still been in wrestling, so that
and in
obviously
his movies,
isn't.
he was the joke character. Like he wasn't. He
It was never meant to be a serious role.
Like he
I mean,
obviously he did the action movies for a while just because of
yeah,
WWE, but then he did the comedy stuff where he was the big buff dumb guy who
yeah.
was hilarious. Um and
What was the movie that he was in with Zac Efron? Uh,
Ricky Stenicki. Ricky Stenicki.
that's the
Yes.
name of the movie.
Yeah, because that's John Cena's character's name because it's the name of the fake friend.
No, I'm not. No, no, no. What wasn't anything involving a fake friend. It was the one with I if
The
unless I'm
Irish
getting my movie unless I'm getting
the Irish guy with the red hair and beard.
no
It's
no
four friends. It's three friends, and they hire John Cena to be their fourth friend.
no. I'm talking about where they move into a house and they're trying to compete with college kids to be.
Oh, that's not John Cena.
It wasn't John Cena.
That's Seth Rogen, which is scary for you.
No
I'm
way.
dead serious. Look it up. I'm dead serious.
Well, what's
He
the name of the movie? Do you know it?
frat house or neighbors, neighbors,
Neighbors. I swore he was
neighbors.
in that movie.
If he is, he's definitely not the character you're thinking. I'll tell you that right now, because I don't remember seeing him in either of them, the first or the second. I hope your face looks horrible at this because I want you to know
Okay, well, I mean, there is Seth Rogen is in it.
he's the
Uh,
main character.
no, I know that. Let me get this. Let me point this out. I did not think he was the main character in the movie.
So when you stated the way you stated it, it only made sense to me that it was. Unless he's one of the friends of Seth Rogen, but I don't think so. I would have remembered seeing him.
Yeah, no, okay, he's not in the
So the
cast,
movie,
so
to be fair, the movie that there is a movie with Zac Efron and John Cena, and he plays an actor who is playing the role of their fake friend that they created to get away from their wives every so often.
that's funny.
Yeah. So, and then he makes Ricky Stenicki a real person, and everyone loves him. And these guys are obviously like, we can't keep this guy around if he's this good because we don't want to keep paying. So that's the movie I thought you were talking about because it also has Zac Efron in it, and it has
I,
John
I,
Cena.
I just thought so. It might have been that movie. I just remember there was one scene where they were like getting off of a plane and he was trying to recover from a hangover really bad. So it might have been that
No,
movie.
that was it was Ricky Stenicki.
It
So
was
he
okay.
had wet himself. He had wet himself, and he was dripping
Yeah. Yep.
because
Yep.
he was on a clean vendor. Because the idea was Ricky Stenicki was in recovery, so he had to be off drugs. So he was a method actor, but he was so drugged up that he was relapsing. I mean, not relapsing. He was, um, oh my God, what's it called? Um, Withdrawals, like really bad.
Wait, okay. So I had the movie right. It was just that I got the
No, you
two
had
two.
you had the movie correct. I'm more of stating like when you said
Yep.
it was the neighbors thing. I was like, that is not accurate.
Nope.
Um,
Yep.
but no, you were correct. But anyway, um,
Back on topic.
back on topic. So my whole thing was, so the idea was basically James Gunn was like I was very impressed with his acting because we Peacemaker's journey is very dramatic in this season.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, they made it very clear in episode one.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Um,
It very much is. You felt for him by this entire episode.
there was there was not a single time where you weren't like, whoa,
Yeah. It's
honestly,
like
and that's
especially when he jumped universe.
yeah, when he met his brother, which we'll talk about that in a minute because we're going to talk about the pocket dimension first. So he goes back into the pocket dimension to let Eagly out because it's too cold and rainy.
Yeah. It was. No, thought it was snowing.
It could have been. It was
Either
definitely
way,
too cold. He definitely said
it
too
was.
cold.
It was too cold.
Whether the weather, we're gonna go ahead and
Weather's not important.
so anyway, he lets him in there, and then he can't find him, and all of a sudden he's like knocking on this wrong door, but it looks like his door technically. So he opens it up. He then
Well,
goes in.
he it looked like his doors because it had all of his helmets outside of it.
Also true. So then he walks out there, and his dad's like, "Chris, is that you?
You sleepwalking?
You sleepwalking again?" And he just walked right back into the pocket dimension,
No,
and
he
oh,
booked it.
he booked it, and then ran back to his place and was like, "Whoa." Now, to be fair, during that time he was very no, he was very.
No, he was sober at that point.
That was the sober one. You're right.
Yeah,
It was this. It was the party one where he was very high and drunk, and then goes into that dimension and sees the home, how beautiful it is. Sees that him and his dad and his brother are heroes, or at least thought of as heroes, because we don't
yeah.
know the full parameters yet.
We don't know everything about it at this
Correct.
point.
But they are deemed to be hero-esque.
I'm going to lean towards the what you were saying before, where like the dimension is like they are seen as good people, but maybe the universe isn't as good as we think it is because of his alter ego's instant reaction instead of trying to figure out what's going on is to try to kill him.
Well, that was my first. So, like, I will say this: before that moment, I thought it was just good in general. But at that moment, I 100% agree with you. I was like, maybe this isn't the universe we think it is.
Yeah, yeah,
But I do agree with you. Yes. Um, so anyway, so we go through that whole thing. The heartfeltness with his dad and his brother while they're drinking together
yeah.
was oof. And
No,
the funny thing too for me was like when his dad was like, "I love you guys," and Chris was just like,
it's just what is going on.
"Say that phrase ever." And he's like, "Okay." And then he says to Keith, "I love you." He's like, "You're crazy, man, but I love you too." He goes, "You're
I,
just drunk."
I was expecting that to be like, "You're not my brother," and then it was just good and fun, and I'm like, "Okay, this feels weird."
Well, I think that was the point
Oh
because
yeah,
it was weird for him, so it needed to be weird for us.
yeah.
And then so he goes to go back home. No, no, he doesn't.
No,
He
he
was
was
he was
wandering
on the way
around.
back to
Yep.
his room, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Who the hell are you?" And Peacemaker
Now,
versus Peacemaker.
it wasn't who the hell are you? It was
I know, but I'm trying to be PG.
that's just as PG. What?
Kids get scared of guns. So anyway, almost had to get us triggered. As weird as that sounds.
I made sure not to say the word, but you know.
I said it, and I realized I screwed up. Out of all the words that gets us canceled, that would be the one instead of all the other things I've said. Um, but anyway, so I also like the. Is it shooting stars or morning stars? I feel like it was shooting stars, but I feel like there was an M. It did. It doesn't really matter. It was
I
shurikens
think it
that
was
came out of
yeah.
them, and they were
Trackers.
trackers because they kept cutting them, and I was like, oh my god.
Once they locked on, it just I was like, oh god.
So he then runs into the pocket dimension to go run back home, back away, but then tries to hide from himself, and then himself found him, and they got into a fight.
The way that you're going through this. He tried to hide from himself, and himself found himself, and himself is in him or fighting himself.
And honestly, he beat himself hard, and to the point where I have to say, like, I love the fight because obviously he had no powers, or he had no abilities because he had no weapons on him.
Yeah,
He had nothing around him.
I have to
So
say the alternate universes jetpack thing was pretty sweet.
I 100% liked it. But I also love the fact that he just threw him up, and then a spike was there. Well, it wasn't a spike, but you get my point. Um, and he just went through him, and then he falls down. He's just like, "Oh no, should I help you?" And he's like, and he like takes his left breath. I was like, "Oh, we're ending like this."
I did not. I did because the trailers made it seem that he held him prisoner and that
That's
he took his
exactly what
life,
I thought.
and we were gonna have like an epic fight where the other one was gonna. And nope.
We definitely had a fight, but it was I was not expecting what we
I
got.
was expecting it to build
I
up
was
into a
expecting him
bigger
to knock
one.
him out. I expected it just like you thought.
Yep.
Knock him out, take his place, lock him up, and that way nobody would find him.
As soon as he hit his chest and the jetpack went up and the spike was there, my jaw went to the floor.
I was like, "Oh, we're killing him right away."
Like that went away. I did not expect.
No, 100%. And the only other thing we have to talk about is I'm going to say her name wrong again.
Harcourt.
Harcourt. Thank you. She went to the bar, the biker bar, and then decided to get into a fight. And she got now. To be fair, it was like like 6 against 1.
I think it was like the whole bar.
I know, but they kept showing the same six.
Yeah, I think like yeah, somewhere around there.
Don't get, either way, she was outnumbered for sure. But man, she was beating him pretty good. And then
Oh
all
yeah.
it took was them to get her once, and they just kept
Mm-hmm.
beating her, and then they just threw her out bloody and just left her there. And so the episode ends with Hawthorne. No, I did it wrong. Hardcore, um, being on the ground bleeding, and then Peacemaker on the ground bleeding.
Yep.
And
Good
that,
synergy.
I agree. I'm assuming the second episode is Peacemaker going back to his dimension to tell everyone what happened and he's leaving, or he's gonna go directly into that universe and just take over. I'm not as confident.
I think he's gonna go back to his dimension, try to
He'll like remove the
recuperate.
body.
Yeah, like try to hide it and then like think about what to do. I don't think he's gonna talk to anybody, and I think he's going to. If he runs into people, he's going to be like super suspicious and like try to be sneaky about it, and you know he's not
Oh,
going to be successful.
we did forget one thing. The alternate universes Peacemaker did date Hardcore at least for a bit.
Yep, I
They
was
have
going to bring that
access.
up.
I forgot. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
But
Oh,
I think he's going to go to. Yes.
sorry. The white dragon is not white. He's blue.
Yes. I mean,
No,
I thought it
his
was.
suit is blue. His suit
No,
is
no,
blue.
no, no, no. I know. I thought he was called the Red Dragon.
But his mask is blue.
No, 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 no. The the original universe.
No, he's the white dragon because he's the white supremacist.
No, I know he was the white supremacist, but I thought that because the suit was red, I thought it was the Red Dragon. I could be. I'm gonna.
No, I'm almost positive he's the white dragon. Because as weird as it sounds, I believe his suit was white.
It was white with red.
Yeah, but
I
it
just.
was the white dragon. And the reason why they went with the white dragon was because of the white supremacy and white power. That was his whole that was his whole shtick.
No, no, I understand. Um,
I even did a character spotlight on him. He's the white dragon.
well, there is a character called the Red Dragon, so I want to make
But
sure that
but it is not him.
okay, it is the White Dragon. Yeah.
I know.
So because I looked up a different character before then because I had looked up Red Dragon before and
Well, you might
he
have.
had popped up.
I will say this. I will not argue that there was a red dragon. I'm just saying I know he.
That's why I got it. That's why I was getting mixed up because I looked up Red Dragon and just assumed it was him.
So for yeah. So we don't know anybody's name technically. We're assuming that that guy is also called Peacemaker.
Yeah,
I'm. We have not got it confirmed yet. I'll say it.
we know their real names are the same. We just
Yes,
don't
their
know.
real names are the same. We don't know what. Well, we don't know if we ever knew what Keith Keith was obviously never anything, right? He might have been in DC Comics, but definitely not in the show, obviously.
I don't know. What do you like his superhero name?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. To be honest, I never looked it up.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying we know in the show he didn't have one because he was dead too early.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway, so yeah, so I definitely like the parallels. I also like that the family is more of a family. I know that's weird to say, but it's like it was like his family in the alternate universe was the opposite.
yeah. It was actually a unit versus in his universe because his dad was a piece of doo doo. um, he it was a broken family. So
He was a
and
racist white supremacist.
yeah, yeah,
The
and
leader of
many
it, I should say.
and many more things. But
That's the only thing I'm allowed to say.
yeah. I mean,
Not without
we
bleeping myself, and that takes a lot of energy.
that takes a lot of extra work that I know you do not do.
I do not do. That is why I'm not doing it. But anyway, I was very happy with it. It was a great start, I will say.
Yeah.
They answered all the questions that we had for the season in general of like how are they going to do this perfectly. They
Yep.
also technically are stating that Peacemaker is considered a metahuman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we know that it's a vague, but
at the moment, as we talked about after Superman, they're using the term metahuman very vaguely.
Which we knew that they were going to do, but we didn't know if it was still going to be the case as time went on. And it might not, but for right now, it's still early. They might.
And obviously, I know we talked about this before, but episode 1 basically double confirmed it that Rick Flag Sr. is hunting down Peacemaker.
Yes. And we do know that Suicide Squad existed. We don't know if the movie is 100% canon.
Yeah, James Gunn has come out and said that he wants to bring in Bloodsport. He isn't 100% sure. He left it vague about Harley Quinn. So we'll have to see what happens when time comes. Apparently, because all of the early reviews of the show, the critics, they only saw the first 6 episodes. He is not letting them see the last 2 episodes. So
which means there has to be something huge in those 2 episodes.
Exactly.
Which, to be fair, am I surprised? No.
No, it's going to be, as he said, this show is going to be the direction that the DCU is heading. So
my question, Mike, for you is, did you see the after credit scene?
Yes, I don't remember
what
what
after credit scene. It was like more of like an add-on to one of the scenes.
I don't remember what. Oh, they were going up the stairs. Yeah. James Gunn has said that every episode is going to have an after credit scene.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like.
It's not going to be significant, but
correct. That's more of the point I was making. But I'm very much looking forward to Thursday to watch the next episode. Without a doubt,
absolutely.
I texted you the moment I finished it because I was like, I wanted to text you the moment they finished like the previously on, because I was like they answered all our questions in the first 5 minutes. But I was like, I don't know if you started it yet. So
it's funny because as soon as you texted me, I had just started it, and it was more fun.
That I was watched.
No. I went to go click on it, and it hadn't. When you go to HBO, it shows like the progress of how much has been watched. there wasn't anything. So I was like, oh, he hasn't started watching it. And as soon as I clicked on it, you were on like the last like 5 minutes of the episode. I was like, no, stop, no spoilers.
I was
and
just thinking that
and
too because I was like,
I
because
I
that was the other thing I was afraid of because I was like, but I didn't think it would do that because I was like, I doubt it would start where I like I thought I had to
oh
stop it for it
no,
to
it
actually.
started.
Right where
I'll
I
tell
was.
you.
So you
I'll
knew
tell you
exactly where I
exact.
was.
The scene that I started, John Cena's face full of blood because he was fighting himself. so,
Oh, okay. So you haven't. So you see that. So I'm like, okay. So you were, yeah. So that's hilarious. So you're like, oh my God, Scott's rushing it. Click, 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 click.
skip. I was like, son of a bitch.
To be fair, we did see that in the trailer, so it didn't ruin anything horrible.
No, it didn't. But I was
But
like, I didn't expect it to be this soon. So,
no, that is also true. But I just,
what's actually hilarious is that by the time I got back to that scene, I completely forgot about it. So,
because there's a lot that happens in that
it
episode.
did.
Honestly, like even I go all of a sudden I was like and I'm not 100% sure, but it felt like everything in season 1, I mean in the trailer was in episode 1. Almost.
Almost. There were some things that were not like the
The hardcore, I mean the hardcore in him.
hardcore in him, but I was gonna say the little ninja.
Yes, he I guarantee you he's next episode. I
Probably.
guarantee it. Because if he doesn't trust him, he's going to send somebody else to watch him, which will be
Yeah,
that one.
which he did. He said that.
No, he does, but he doesn't say who. That was the point I'm making.
I thought he did.
No.
I thought he said send so and so because I
No,
don't
he had
trust
to
him.
send somebody because I don't trust him. I
Okay.
don't remember him. He could have, and I didn't hear it, but I'm saying no. And I'm okay with being wrong because it doesn't really matter because we know he's coming.
Yeah. Um,
Um, yeah.
before we
Oh,
move on to your
actually, there was
spotlight.
one other thing. Arkham was announced. It was officially confirmed that Arkham exists in this universe.
Oh yeah, yeah. Arkham and obviously Bell Reeve.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't bring that one up is because we've already seen Belle Reeve.
Mm-hmm. Um. Anyways, before we move on to your character spotlight, um, there were some cameos. Not really cameos, but like
Oh, they were like they talked about them.
yeah, or showed them. There was the rainbow creature, which there in the alternate universe, like things that the
That was in like the papers, right?
exactly.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yep.
I just want to
So
make sure.
the
I'm like I don't remember seeing that person in live color.
the rainbow creature is a Batman villain. Let's see if you want a description. Do you want a description of them?
No, because I think I. Oh, I'll put it this way. I remember that one. We'll do the ones that I don't remember.
Ultra Humanite.
Who's that one?
He's a Superman villain.
Oh,
He.
so he was just the title, right?
What do you mean?
Let me phrase it this way. He wasn't shown. It was like a news clip article that said
Yeah,
his name.
yeah.
Okay.
It was just the newspaper that said like, oh, like they have defeated Ultramite, they have defeated
I'm
Rainbow.
sorry. Ultramate is who? I apologize.
Ultra Humanite is a he's one of Superman's first villains. He has genius intellect,
Telepathy.
telepathy and telekinesis. Um, he is kind of like Rod. He's a gorilla, but super smart. And then we showed one of Hal Jordan's Hal Jordan's home. The Evergreen. The Evergreen is where Hal
Where he
Jordan's from.
lives.
Yeah. The Evergreen Sentinel. It says yep, Evergreen is a famous DC city that's the home of Hal Jordan. So
I'm curious to see how many like cameos of that we get. Like obviously not cameos, but like news clipping articles and all that we'll be getting. Um, we also got the imps again.
yep.
We're talked about, which I think is hilarious. They're just 2 doors down.
Yeah, just a couple doors down, and then Peacemaker went trotting along in there.
Um, but yeah, overall, I mean, the episode was great. No notes. Anything I was slightly concerned about, which there really wasn't much, was resolved immediately in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. For the most part. I mean, there's going to
I
be
mean,
still
there's
some
some questions, but I
questions.
mean, like those were the major hard ones. Everything else was kind of like it doesn't matter type of thing. I'll
Yeah,
say it that way.
for the time being.
Correct. So you ready for my character spotlight?
Yep.
Okay. So do you know the Inhuman known as Crystal?
It sounds familiar.
So you read about her during. She had a very brief cameo in the Marvel Zombies Collection One. She was in the Ultimate Fantastic Four part. She was the Inhuman that Sue Storm meets after Johnny gets the infection or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Okay.
then she dated him, and then she was like, just tell him I wish him the best because he's gonna die.
Yeah,
And the
because we
reason why I
can't get
bring her up,
involved.
correct. The reason why I bring her up is because the character spotlight I'm doing is an X Men with the same powers.
Oh.
Because X Men and Inhumans are two different creatures.
Mm.
So I am going to attempt to say this woman's name, because she's Nigerian. I will say that. So just to warn everyone now, very
Oh,
special.
he's going to be so offensive.
100%. That's why I'm warning everyone now. So it's definitely indie. I'm not gonna try to pronounce her last name, but her character, her like her alter ego or her code name is Temper,
Temper. Okay.
which is funny because her power is to manipulate temperature. Um, so anyway, she was a Catholic girl, um, born in a very religious village in Nigeria. When she was 14 years old, her mutant gene activated in Oyo City. The X-Men identified such a manifestation using the mutant tracking technology of Cerebra. Yes, it's Cerebra because Cerebra and Cerebro are different.
Interesting. Okay.
Cerebro gets blown up and they create Cerebra. And then at one point, Cerebra turns into a sentient being, which is a whole other thing. Being one of the five
Comics.
mutants, correct. Being one of the five mutants that emerged following the destruction of the like, basically at this point in time, nobody's mutant powers were supposed to be like emerging, and then five came up at the same time, and hers was one of them. As a result of her powers happening, the capability of her rechanneling temperature led her to burn down her village and accidentally kill her family and friends, making her feel like she's a monster that everyone claims her to be. Um, Basically,
Everybody's got a tragic backstory.
yeah, she burned everyone down. A paramilitary group began hunting her down. She desperately hid in the chapel in Delta State, where she accidentally froze some of the men hunting her. The prominent X Men member Storm prevented the troops from harming Temper, or at this time Indy. Was also brought the frightening child into contact with the mutant messiah, Hope. Hope Summers, by the way, who calmed her down and stabilized her powers. In controlling of her abilities, Indy unleashed flames to scare the aggressors off. While having no family left, she joined Hope and other recently awoken mutants who were dubbed the Lights. Under the guidance of Rogue, the Lights traveled around the planet to stabilize other young mutants in need of assistance. Their final destination was Tokyo, where the last light was to be found. Although astonished and feeling hopeful due to the adventure, Indy soon realized herself and her fellow colleagues struggled with their emotions. Afterwards, they marched into the headquarters of the X-Men, the island of Utopia. Examined by Doctor Nemesis, Indy was diagnosed to be in perfect health condition. Much to her confusion, she also quietly submitted to the X-Men's training classes. When faced with the proposition of adopting the mutant code name, she named herself Oya to start off with, after the goddess of magic. Her decision was her purpose was that she wished to embrace the idea of blasphemy that came from her own perception of being a monster. So she wanted to try to, do good with being the monster everyone claims her to be. Many nations of the world directed their efforts to combat mutant kind following the terrorist psychic attack performed by Quentin Quire. The incident was orchestrated by the New Hellfire Club, a band of wealthy children who wished to profit from mutant hate by commercializing sentinels. Rich people are awful, rich mutants are even worse. In response to their popularity being ruined, yeah, I can't even explain that one. It's just awful. The X Men celebrated the inauguration of the Museum of Mutant History in San Francisco. Since then, Indy demonstrated that she agreed with how Sentinels were deployed to massacre mutants. Her colleagues, specifically Laurie Schmidt, took this took her to the opening event, counting with the surprise factor. The Hellfire Club subdued the X Men and prepared a bombing. Indy was able to evade their attack and hide from the villains. The leader of the X Men, Cyclops, was psychically suggested Indy to neutralize the threat, though while his opponent Wolverine demanded her to lay low until he arrived. Considering herself to be able to end the terrorists, Indy incinerated the Hellfire agents to death. Because why not?
You said that so aggressively.
Yeah, she burned people. She burned people. Um, and I love the little caption on the bottom of her doing it is literally her becoming a murderer. Um, Thanks to Indy's intervention, no innocents were harmed. She believed the murder represented what being an X-Men meant. This decision led to the physiological change, but in the X-Men. Wolverine vocally objected to how Cyclops treated the young mutants under his tutelages as soldiers. The two X-Men boldly attacked each other as the Hellfire Club attempted to destroy Utopia. The mutant youngsters prevented the catastrophic event. Excuse me. Following the crisis, Wolverine chose to leave Cyclops, Utopia, and the X-Men. In Westchester, he rebuilt the institute the X-Men used to live in, with Cyclops' blessing. Indy was separated from the other lights and enrolled in the new Jean Grey School of Higher Learning, despite Hope's initial objection. As a student, Indy proved to be uh, brilliantly dedicated despite her confusion regarding her status as a mutant. The Hellfire Club regarded the school as a threat to their business and attempted to prevent its reopening. During their attack, Indy met the young alien Bro. Brew. Brew. It's Broo, so Brew, I'm assuming.
I would go
Um,
with Brew. Yeah.
but I went Bro first for obvious reasons. Who challenged his brutal nature by being kind. She also met Choir, who was forced by Wolverine into the school to reform him. Wolverine forcing people to go to school, things you never thought I'd say. That's unfortunate. Both boys showed an infatuation with Indy. And as weeks went on, she proved to be a model student in the school, which is very nice. Under the radar, the Hellfire Club established themselves in Westchester. In order to manipulate Indy, they used a robot built by the young Dr. Frankenstein, masqueraded as a Catholic priest, to reinforce her self hate ideals. Behind the backs of her friends and teachers, she met with the priest. This gradually affected her attitude, who started to treat which made her start to treat others in a mean way. Finding her behavior weird, Brew investigated the situation but was mortally wounded by the Hellfire Club. Meanwhile, Indy embraced her damnation, acquiring Choir as her lover. Brew was found and nursed by the X Men. The tragic outcome led Indy to feel immensely guilty and feel disillusioned as well. This also made her distance herself from the false priest controlled by the Hellfire Club. Now, Frankenstein's monster, because, why not, sought revenge against his family, against the family of his dreaded creator, bringing his vile circus to Westchester, including the necromancer Cal, Calbarina? Calbarina. The X Men fell under the monster's control, but the students resisted. Indy helped young Dr. Frankenstein run away from the hunters, being unaware about his participation in her recent tragedies. As the X Men restored their will, Indy hunted down the necromancer to burn her down, blaming witches for how she had been mistreated in her life. Choir witnessed the brutal ordeal, which was followed by Indy demanding him to keep away from her. Afterwards, Brew regained partial consciousness. However, he displayed aggressive behavior towards anyone except for Indy. She, as such, became his handler, seeking ways to restore his kind personality. Isn't that sweet? Um, the oops. I'm sorry, I lost my place for a second. Um, in extreme turmoil, Indy decided to surrender to the apparent temptation and joined the secret Hellfire Academy. In fact, she sought revenge against them after hurting Brew. Since she had suspected about their involvement. I can't even speak regular words. She expected suspected their involvement in his, you know, hurt, I guess you'd say. She became one of the candidates of called the Hellions. Hellions, being followed Indy and Brew to the secret location in order to save them from danger. While attending the Grimm school, Indy showed great behavior to their standards, and it caught the eye of the Black King of the Hellfire Club, Kilgro. He offered her position of the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club. By pretending to accept the offer, Indy was able to confirm Kilgore had been responsible for the shooting of Brew, unleashing her evilness, is how it should say, but that's not what it's written. Indy brutally assaulted Kilgore. However, she was ultimately able to choose love over hate in the last minute, sparing his life and choosing to save Choir instead. This coincided with the X Men raiding the Hellfire Academy. In the end, India accepted Choir as her boyfriend, and they returned to the Jean Grey School as the Hellfire Club was defeated. Um, we're gonna go right to there we go. Oops, skipping around because she has a lot more than I thought because she was only released. She was only created in 2010, and she still has a lot of stuff.
Oh wow.
She was the voice of Krooka, which was the basically like the motherland of mutants at one point. Cypher secretly released all mutants in the Pit of Exile and asked them to track Sabretooth and prevent him from harming their homeland. As exiles, the crew sailed after Sabretooth. Upon finding him, they realized that they shared an enemy in the vile Dr. Barrington from Orcus, who ran a prison that experimented on and tortured mutant victims. Calling a truce, the exiles joined Sabretooth to stop Barrington. Being abandoned by Sabretooth during the mission, Indy found an alternate version of Sabretooth among the subjects. While saving the victims, it was revealed that Graydon Creed was behind the problems. Um, the exiles parted ways with Sabretooth, who assembled a group of alternate Sabretooth to carry out his revenge plans. In order to get revenge at Wolverine, Sabretooth harmed his loved ones. Choir was one of his victims on Croaca. I'm sorry, Croca. I can't remember how to say it. It's so weird. It's Krakoa. Croaca. No, Krakoa. Krakoa.
I like the yeah.
Choir was one of his victims being beheaded and his mind weaponized in order to attack Wolverine. The remnants of Choir's soul reached out to Indy, who got his psychic signal. She shared his situation to the fellow exiles who chose to march to war. On their homeland, the exiles were identified by Orchid's sentinels being forced to flee. In a second attempt, Indy, having psychic clues about the location of Sabretooth and Wolverine, suggested the team to travel underwater to find the trench. The exiled were brutally assaulted since Wolverine had been brainwashed. Necra was able to subdue Sabretooth, while Indy rescued and nursed Wolverine back to health. Alongside Wolverine, the exiles prepared to eliminate the alternate versions of Sabretooth and Graydon Creed. On their homeland, Wolverine asked Indy to retreat with the exiles and refugees that they had saved. In a final showdown against the freed Sabretooth, the exiles teamed up with the X-Force to help Wolverine, and with Sabretooth slain, the exiles departed once again. So after Orcus was dismantled, Cyclops reformed the X-Men to help mutant kind and their relationship with humans in the world without their homeland. Now, Indy joined the X Men under the new name as Temper, now being one of the leaders of the X Men, having the personal mission protecting the innocents from the team's apparent good intentions. One of the teammates, Choir, was highlighted their opposing natures in the past. Um, and while he was a prestigious agent of X Force, she had become a convicted criminal in Mutant Paradise. So one of the big things is I just lied to you by mistake. She is not actually the leader, but she is a um, higher level member of the X Men, specifically Cyclops' team. Because apparently, after they left there were multiple teams of X Men, and Cyclops got his own, and she is one of them. So let's talk about her powers, because realistically, we talked very little about her powers, um, realistically, of like how it works and everything else. She's one of the first mutants to be activated after M Day. Now, Mike, do you know what M Day is?
That was Scarlet Witch
No mutants.
doing bad things.
Yeah. So anyway, she's one of the first mutants to get powers after that moment. She was considered one of the Five Lights, a group of mutant teenagers who had their mutant powers activated after the consequences of the emergence of Hope, the mutant messiah, which was Hope Summers, I believe. I believe I'm accurate on that. I am.
Okay,
Temperature manipulation. She has the ability to redistribute temperature. As such, she can transfer heat from an object and/or location to another, creating both hotness and coldness as a result. Since she can only read channel temperature, she is unable to simply create heat and cold. Thus, she needs the presence of fire to generate ice, and vice versa. These temperature manipulations powers results in fire generation, cold and ice generation, light bonding. The light were shown to be emotionally linked to hope, um, and to be able and to each other in a cult-like fashion. The bond was shown that they were affected by a suicide of potential light, and the condition were identified by lights themselves. Her weaknesses. Weirdly enough, she needs the opposing temperature to use her power. So if she's not in a desert, she has a hard time creating ice. If she's not in the North Pole, she has trouble creating fire.
makes sense.
It does. So I wanted to bring her up because we definitely want to talk about the X Men. But I also thought it was kind of interesting because she's basically like, like power wise, I'll say, like obviously her powers are different than um, Crystal. Crystal's powers are hot and cold.
Mm.
So the fact that she's the mutant version of it, I thought was kind of cool. And that, my friends, is a character spotlight because for whatever reason, they do not have the power log, which I think is kind of cool. What I do like is when she does become the the mutant named Temper, her suit is literally mostly black, and in her chest area is the only area where there's like her abdomen or her torso. Sorry, is the only thing that actually has color, and it's red on one side and blue on the other. Oh, I'm sorry, orange. Sorry, orange. So like hot and cold, which I thought is
Oh,
kind of cool.
yeah, that's cool.
Um, and I just thought it was kind of cool because she was technically one of the first mutants after um, M Day, and she was only released as of 2010, and she's a prominent member of the X Men at this time.
That's cool. Yeah,
So I thought that was kind
like
of cool, and
it's
we
not
might see it.
not often you get new characters. So I mean,
I'll say this: it's not so often we get new characters who play a prominent role in an already established team for a
yeah,
long period of time.
especially that.
Because we normally go back to the regular Cyclops, Wolverine, Iceman, the
Yeah,
usual.
they're the ones that are set in stone. Yeah.
Correct. And we're not, and I thought that was kind of cool. But that is my character spotlight for tonight. What we will do now is next week we're going to be talking about Peacemaker episode 2, and a character spotlight from Mike.
Yep, and that should be it. That there shouldn't be anything coming out next week, unless obviously, like usual, any trailers that pop up. But
Well, there might be a trailer for Gen V just to get ready because it comes out the following week.
no, it doesn't.
No, you're right. It's towards the end.
Yeah, September
But it's September.
17th,
But I'm,
7th.
I'm, I'm just thinking because September's here. But for now, if you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Heel Podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.